Hello, Sanford. You are listening to the Sanford Sports Radio. I am Jonathan West, and welcome to the new and improved Howler. And what do I mean by that? Well, somebody here, this guy sitting right here talking to you folks on the radio, just got an extended time slot for his program. So now we're going to talk about a lot more stuff here on the Howler, and you're going to get all the headlines going into this week's game, which is even better. But of course, what's the Howler without starting with some of the highly touted recruits that Coach Wolf is looking at this year. And from what I've been told, it sounds like this recruiting class, it won't be very big. Coach Wolf is focused on a certain amount of players, and more than likely we're not going to see much change. And at the top of the list is Harrison Harlow, the number one tackle in the nation. Going to be tough to bring him in, but he is highly touted by Coach Wolf, and a lot of the coaching staff really likes him. Along with that is Callum Faraday, the tight end. He would be a big weapon to add with Duron Costello. And of course, Costello set, I think, for a big season. Faraday would help with that, with a big pass catching ability, but even better of a blocker, if you ask me. I like the kid. He really would help the run game just as much as the pass. Now we're talking about tight ends. We'll be talking about them more with Ian Harlow, the brother, yes indeed, of Harrison Harlow, the two boys out of Huntington Beach, California. And from the sounds right now, it sounds like neither one of them is really too high on Sanford. That's just what I've been hearing. I don't know if it's true or not. But like Faraday, Harlow is a great blocker. The question is, though, is he going to be as dominant as Faraday? That is the number one question with these two tight ends. A lot of people believe Harlow's the top guy. A lot of people think it's Faraday. It's a very mishmash situation with those two. I'm a fan of both, so it would be great to get either one. Now let's talk about free safeties, and the number one free safety in the nation is Sean Taylor Jr. Of course, Sean Taylor, the father of Sean Taylor Jr., the former Redskins free safety, who tragically passed away, of course. But Taylor is looking to be just as good, if not better, than his father, playing some tough football and being a hell of a cover safety. That's really his skill set. He is a ball hawk and just about nothing more. Sanford would really like to bring him in to shore up that safety spot. Of course, Pat Riley going to start this year for Sanford. We'll see if the younger brother of defensive coordinator Mark Riley can get the job done. But Taylor would really add a lot to that defense, especially in that secondary. Coach Wolf has also taken some time to look at some athletes this year, so expect to see a couple names that could play a multitude of positions on this team in the near future. Eric Peters is one of them. He would more than likely play defensive tackle from what it sounds like. He's a big-bodied guy at 303, so expect him, if he were to commit to Sanford, to be in that big front line. I like the kid. I think he's a big mauler, and it would add to that deadly rotation they already have in that front four. Another name to keep in mind, and this one I think is a very valuable asset and could really come to Sanford, and that's Shea Faraday, the younger brother of Callum, and Shea is a defensive end. Now, he's not as highly touted as his brother, but he is a very, very talented kid. Has set the sack record in high school. And don't get me wrong, I think Shea is much more talented than how a lot of people perceive him to be. He's not highly touted in the way of his brother, but he's highly touted in the way of being a hell of a powerhouse. This man can bust through offensive lines with ease. Adding him to that front four rotation, him and Hollis, he'd be the perfect replacement for Shane Townsend, who's leaving at the end of this season for graduation. He'd be a perfect replacement, and that would be huge. Now, arguably the biggest need to fill this year is going to be punter, and a punter that's all eyes are set on here at Sanford is Jean-Paul Valley, the punter out of New York City. And, luckily for him, he wants to stay close to home, and Sanford's not too far. There's some distance, but it's not too far away. So there is a lot of positivity there going into this. The kid has a hell of a leg. However, his accuracy is extremely iffy. You don't know where that ball is going to go, but you know it's going a long way. But I've seen some of his tape, and the kid can be quite the interesting weapon. I wouldn't be surprised if Valley does come to Sanford to see a couple strange plays out of this team next season. But keep your eyes on Valley. He's going to be a big target, I'm sure, all season long. And another guy that I have heard Coach Wolf rave about is fullback Brian Gerard. And calling him a fullback doesn't give him enough credit. The team has listed him as a fullback on their recruiting board, but the kid is a Swiss Army knife. And I use that term, of course. NC State has Jalen Samuels, a hell of a player, or at least they did have Jalen Samuels. He's a hell of a player, and he could play the same way Gerard, I believe, can play for Sanford. Tight end, running back, or fullback. Maybe even out at receiver with his height. The kid can do a lot of good things. And you add a guy like that to your team, there's a big mismatch and a lot of creative play calling you can do. Luckily, Gerard seems to be a fan of Sanford, so look at him being one of the top recruits to come here next season. Another player to really keep an eye on is Joe Baker, the running back out of Chicago, Illinois. Now, this team is lacking a pure scat-style running back, a guy with a ton of speed, and Baker can give us that. He's already a quick guy. He's got some decent blocking skills. He's not the best, so don't expect him to be a pure third down back. And he can catch the ball fairly well out of the backfield. But his key component is his speed. He needs to work on his agility and movement. But the kid brings a lot that this team doesn't have, and that is speed to that backfield. So expect Joe Baker to be a guy we continue to talk about as the season rolls on. But if we don't talk about him, there is another running back to talk about. As Robert Kennedy, the running back out of Boston, Massachusetts, so close nearby, is another running back to keep your eyes on. He's another quick style back. He's a lot more agile and a lot quicker on his feet than Joe Baker. Kennedy is the number one running back in the nation, and it's going to be tough for Sanford to pick him up here this year. So expect those two names to be very highly touted this year in the recruiting trail. I don't know if we'll be seeing other running backs come in, because from the sound of Coach Wolf, these are your key guys. These guys we're talking about today may be the only guys we talk about all year. He may be bringing some guys in if he needs to maybe replace, but that's about it. It sounds like these guys we'll be talking about right now are the guys Coach Wolf is dead set on. But Kennedy, relative to former President John F. Kennedy, he's now playing football and is extremely excited to really bring a good name back to the Kennedys. I'm excited for the kid. He wants to just really play hard-nosed football and do as the former president would do and be honest about it. But I'm not sure if he's going to be willing to come to Sanford. That's going to be the big question on that one. Jason Giles, a free safety at Sacramento, California, is the next name we got to touch on. And Giles is a guy that I could see coming to Sanford if it wasn't for the fact that he likes California. It's the situation of it's a good player, a very fast guy in the backfield. He's another ball hawk type safety, but he has the speed that Sean Taylor Jr. doesn't. Keep that in mind. Giles, though, from the sounds of things, doesn't seem like he wants to leave California, so I wouldn't put everything on the fact of Giles coming to Sanford. He's not a highly touted safety, but he is a talented one at that. And if he wants to stay in California, I don't see Sanford having a shot at him. I'm sure the coaching staff is going to pitch whatever they can to Giles. Couple of other guys we need to touch on, one of which is the undersized defensive tackle Sam Morgan. Now, Morgan's from Houston, Texas, and these Texas recruits don't seem to want to come to Sanford often, so I think this is a tough one for the Coyotes to get. But if they can, it's a very interesting prospect. The kid's powerful for his size. He's very undersized and is very quick. So he's almost a defensive end, defensive tackle hybrid in my opinion. I could see him kind of surprising offensive linemen with how quick he is able to get around them. He may not pick up a lot of sacks, but I could see him pushing linemen back, getting around them quick, and getting to the quarterback maybe even faster than some defensive ends can. So he's a very interesting prospect, but he's one that needs time to develop. He hasn't put up big numbers in high school's first 3 years. We'll see what he does this year. But right now, I think Morgan's going to be one of those guys that's a wait and see, especially since he is a Texas prospect. Another guy to keep in mind is Brian Bowie out of Colorado with the middle linebacker spot being kind of filled right now. Of course, Matthew Fowler, last year's big signing at middle linebacker, getting the red shirt this year. We're going to be seeing really Trey McLaughlin kind of finish things out, and we're going to be missing a linebacker next year. Brian Bowie can fill that spot and even fight maybe Fowler for that starting gig. And he's a very talented player. He can get some pressure, and that's one important statistic here. He can get some pressure, and he's fast. I could see Bowie being a hot prospect for a lot of teams in college football. Sanford's going to have to fight for him. It's not going to be easy to get this kid. I'll tell you that much right now. Another guy on the board that I wouldn't call important, yet important at the same time, is Sean Marks. He's a very lowly touted tackle out of Woodland, Pennsylvania. Now, why I say important and unimportant at the same time is mainly the fact that he is not going to be a starter anytime soon wherever he goes. He is a developmental offensive lineman. But this team needs guys on that offensive line, whether it be depth guys or whether it be starters. Their center situation this year is going to be very rough. They have one starting center, and a bunch of the guys on the line are going to have to chip in if they got to move over. So Marks would be a much needed depth addition to already a very, weak offensive line. So expect Marks to be a big priority for this team in this year's recruiting season. Another guy to keep in mind is Gordon Sutton, Greensburg, Pennsylvania zone. And this kid is a solid corner. Getting some more cornerback depth is never a bad thing. We're going to see Ronnie Hansen and Richard Cruz leave at the end of the season. So getting some more depth is never a bad thing. Gordon Sutton's another one of those players that really needs to develop. He's got good speed to him, and he's very solid in coverage. I could see him getting some play time early if he were to come to Sanford, but it would be in that 5th or maybe even 6th cornerback spot. He would be part of the rotation. It would be tough for him to come in. He's very undersized too, so in my opinion, he'd be a full-on slot cornerback. I don't know if he's going to come here, if he sees an opportunity or not, but he's a very talented kid, and the depth would be much needed. And finally, the final recruit right now on the board is Samson Stratton. Now, Stratton is a hell of an athlete. I saw some tape on him actually early this morning, and the kid is fast. The issue with him, though, is they don't know really what he is, whether he's a safety or a corner or something else. He could play a couple of different positions. They've honestly even talked about him at running back, but there's so many questions with Stratton on what exactly is he that I don't know if this team really wants to worry about that. There's a lot of question marks on Stratton, and from what I've heard from at least defensive coordinator Mark Riley, Stratton is at the bottom of his list when it comes to important recruits this year because of those question marks. So Stratton, keep an eye out for, but don't expect to be part of the blue and silver anytime soon. Now, with this season, of course, is going to come another question of if Sanford can compete in the MAC. And right now, they're set to be 4th in the MAC Eastern. I think that's a little low. You're talking about the team that won the East last year. The team that I think we all can argue, if they had played a lot smarter, would have been MAC champions. They deserve to be better than 4th. Right now, NIU, of course, the reigning and defending MAC champions, are number 1 in the West. Not a surprise at all. I don't think anybody can say that much. But I don't understand how the other team that got there for the Eastern side is looked at 4th in their half of the conference. Yes, this team has a lot of question marks still on it, but come on. They finished with 8 wins. They outdid a lot of expectations. This team deserves to be respected, and I mean, at 4th in their conference and 7th overall in the conference, no, that is not what Sanford should be. They're a top 5 team, I think, in the MAC, especially with the talent they have this year. The talent has just gotten better, and there's going to be a lot of new names we talk about. And on the part of talent getting better, let's talk about how impressive this team was with preseason All-Americans. They had 14 names on that All-American list, 2 of which were all NCAA, and Jason Turner and Joe Irvin. Now, 12 other names, you had Herb Fellows and Duran Costello, 2 big offensive weapons making first team All-MAC. That is enormous. Absolutely enormous for this team, especially going into the last year for Herb Fellows. He's a preseason All-American. That is great for him, and just, I think, puts into more expectations of him getting 1,000 yards this season. It's going to be fun to watch. Another name on the list, and I don't think anybody can be surprised at this, is middle linebacker and the captain of that defense, Trey McLaughlin, the senior, getting his first nod at being an All-American. That's just exciting. The captain of the defense finally becoming an All-American. Another name, of course, to keep in mind is Flash Gibson, who made the freshman All-American team. He is a preseason All-American, and he'll shine hopefully once again. However, it looks like currently on the depth chart he's number 4. It'll be interesting to see if he moves at all, if any poor play is made by Hansen or anyone else for that matter. Gibson had a great year. He's going to have to play at some point. Another name that made the All-American list, now we're on to the second team here, is Claude Fleming, the running back who is going to be a big player this year. Expect a lot of carries going to Claude Fleming from the sounds of what Drew Martin was talking about. It's going to be the Claude Fleming show this year in Sanford, and I expect to be saying his name a lot, not only when he gets into the end zone, but just gets handed the ball, plain and simple. Another name to keep in mind is another senior, and we all know and love him, the big defensive end Shane Townsend. He made second team All-MAC, and that's no surprise. The man is a hell of a defensive end, and he's hoping to get back to those double-digit sacks he had in his sophomore year. Another name, though, and nobody's surprised at this, is his fellow defensive end Deshaun Hollis, the sophomore now, going to try and rack up just as many sacks as anybody else on that defensive line. It's going to be fun to watch these guys play. It's an angry group. And when I'm talking about the defensive line, I should bring up defensive tackle, Elliott Flowers getting his All-American nod as well. So that entire defensive line, folks, is All-Americans. That is good defensive play. 4 All-Americans on that defensive line. As Ronnie Hansen also gets a nod at a preseason All-American, he will be the slot corner to start the season, but I could see poor play resulting in Flash Gibson coming in. And not a surprise at all, Richard Cruz, the leader of that secondary, getting an All-American nod as well. And not to forget, Sam Moore getting the nod at returner. So a lot of All-Americans this year, 14 once again to talk about. And it's amazing how well this team has done to get 14 All-Americans in there. So a lot of expectations this year as we talk about what happened during week 1 of college football here in the MAC. Jalen Fox and Quentin Maxwell, both for Ohio, are your players of the week in the MAC. Big games for both men in an overtime victory at Idaho last week. So that's an interesting one, very interesting, as well as they were the only team in the MAC last week to get a W. Florida defeated Eastern Michigan 38-17. Ohio State over Central Michigan 31-10. LSU taking out Miami of Ohio 51-3. That ain't pretty. Louisiana of Lafayette winning 37-14 over Akron. 21-13 in a tough one. Miami over Toledo. And Ohio, of course, winning in the overtime 45-38 against Idaho. Now, we've got to talk about week 2, meaning the debut for Sanford this season. The Coyotes are starting at home this week against the University of Illinois. And I talked to Coach Wolf and I asked him why Illinois. And the only thing he said was they have to see the matchup. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, folks, Cameron Wilson, the young receiver that we'll be seeing, the sophomore, deciding to go to the University of Illinois over Sanford. He'll be playing in the slot this week. And, well, because of him leaving, we got Rob Thomas. So it's going to be fun to watch those two all day long this week. Now let's talk about our opponents this week in the University of Illinois. They're a tough team. They're a very tough team. They've got some solid players, very good running back in Keyshawn Vaughn. But, of course, you got to keep in mind the biggest position in football, quarterback. Chase Crouch is going to be the guy we're watching there, the senior. Had a solid season in 2014. Nothing really to shock anyone. Nothing big that's going to make your jaw drop. Very mediocre 12-12 in way of touchdowns to interceptions. So he's got a chance to shine this year. The question is, can he? I wouldn't take him lightly, though. That is the big thing when talking about Crouch. Do not take him lightly. If this team does, it's going to be bad. That's just what's going to happen if you take any player lightly. If you try and play him weak, you're going to face consequences for it. And even more so if it's an opposing team's quarterback and they have some weapons at wide receiver. And we'll talk about that here in just a bit because you want to talk about weapons. They've got a lot of them. And one, of course, is Cameron Wilson. The man who's going to be playing in the slot had 21 receptions last year for 215 yards. 10 yards per receiving or per reception. One receiving touchdown. His long was 30. He did have 78 yards after catch. Not a very fun amount there. But he's a talented kid. We know this. We talked about him a lot in that recruiting class for the first year of Sanford football. So it's going to be interesting to watch him, especially since the whole day it'll be him and Ronnie Hansen. That's going to be a matchup. And Hansen has the speed, I think, to stick with Wilson. It's going to be just, can he maneuver enough to stick with Wilson? On the outside, though, it'll be Richard Cruz going one-on-one against senior receiver Desmond Kane. Now, Kane's just gotten better through the years. He had a total of 757 yards, or he has a total of 757 yards total, 480 of that coming from last year. 4 touchdowns last year, as well as a long of 56. He didn't really have a big average per game, only 40, but he's talented. He is a talented guy. He's not a tall receiver, so Cruz is going to have to stick to him extremely well. When we talk about top cornerbacks on Illinois' side, Chris James Jr. is the guy we're going to be seeing on Herb Fellows all day. James is a talented guy. He had 2 interceptions 2 years ago, nothing last year, but he's a tough cornerback to get rid of. And for a team like Sanford that really you can argue aren't a top-level team, it's going to be tough for Fellows to lose James in coverage. So Patrick's going to have to play well, and he's going to have to play smart. It's going to be a tough matchup this weekend, and we'll talk more about that as the game goes on. This has been the first edition of the Howler this season. Thank you, folks. You've been listening to Sanford Sports Radio. I'm Jonathan West. We will see you this weekend. Hello, Sanford. You are listening to Sanford Sports Radio. I am Jonathan West here on the call in Sanford City Stadium, and it is once again that time to hashtag defend the den as a new season of Coyotes football begins. It's taken its time to get here, but finally, Coyotes football is back. And Sanford's got a tough test right off the bat. They faced Indiana in a bowl game. Now they face some more Big Ten competition in the University of Illinois. The Fighting Illini come to Sanford. And the key matchup to watch is, of course, Kenneth Wilson against Ronnie Hansen at corner. And, of course, Rob Thomas going to be eyed a lot on the offensive side for Sanford as they rock the All Blues for the first home game of the season, as things are going to be insane, I'm sure, today. Coyotes are ready to get things underway, and so are the Illini as we get ready to get going here in the first game of a new season, and we are off. As it looks like Sam Moore will be the man to return this one. Looks like Lewis McMahon won't return the ball this year, as Sam Moore takes it up for a 21-yard gain. As out comes senior receiver Herb Fellows. We're going to keep an eye on him all season long. He's looking to get 1,000 yards this season, but they start on the ground here to Sanford to begin this game. Claude Fleming, the sophomore running back, gaining 6 on that carry. 2nd and 4 here to begin now is Tanner Patrick dropping back for his first throw of the year, and it is a completion to Rob Thomas on the sidelines. A nice post towards the sideline, gains 14 for this offense. And the first catch goes to the man who's here because Cameron Wilson decided not to come to Sanford 2 years ago. As now back to the ground game they go. 5-yard run there for Claude Fleming, as he's having a nice start to the season with 2 solid runs. 2nd and 5, Patrick looks to throw. He connects with Tyrone Jennings, who's checked into the ball game. The young running back getting an opportunity here with Norris Brooks leaving in the offseason. He'll be the number 2 back this season, as Claude Fleming once again taking the handoff, and he won't go down. A gain of 19 and a big run into the end zone. Into the red zone. We haven't gotten that far downfield just yet. They're right at the edge of the red zone. As Tanner Patrick looks to throw again, he wanted, I believe, Tremaine Dingle indeed, but intercepted by Chris James Jr. That is a guy we talked about a lot during the Howler this week. James is the number 1 corner on this Illini team, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more from him this game. He is a tough guy to go up against, and it's going to be problems all day for these Sanford receivers. As Illinois now starts things off, and it is a drop there as Chance Crouch got that to his intended receiver, but couldn't get brought in. As 2nd and 10 here now, the Illini dropping back is Crouch. He connects with, I believe that's Keyshawn Vaughn. Indeed, 5-yard reception. Enough for a nice gain, as it'll be 3rd and 5 upcoming. They go to the no-huddle offense. Crouch looks to throw. He's able to hook up with Desmond Kane this time, as that's an 18-yard gain against Richard Cruz, who had his head turned around and couldn't find that football. 1st and 10 now in the shotgun as the no-huddle offense continues. Crouch looks to throw, connects with Cameron Wilson. The man we'll be watching all day as he picks up 18 on his first catch of the ballgame. Another big first down for this Illini offense. As it's the shotgun once again, Crouch takes the snap, but he goes down. Tried to take off, ran right into Big Joe Irvin. His first sack of the year, and it's a loss of 1 for Illinois. And this one's just a throwaway from Crouch on 2nd down. That'll make it 3rd and 11 upcoming, as they need a big play here. As Crouch looks to throw, as Turner was coming in on the blitz, and that opened up Joe Irvin. He picks up sack number 2 on the day. A big loss of 8, and that will move the Illini definitely out of field goal range. That is a huge defensive stop by this Sanford defense. Nice to see the young guys picking up some big plays early this year. 1st and 10 in the pistol formation is Sanford on their next offensive drive, as Tanner Patrick, with only a gain of 2 on the option, he couldn't find much room to go on, can only collect 2 yards. 2nd and 8, it's a 5-wide set, but they go jet sweep with Rob Thomas, and Thomas is able to find a gain of about 4 or 5 on that carry. A solid gain nonetheless. That's going to put them in manageable 3rd down territory. 3rd and 3, the handoff goes to Tyrone Jennings out of the shotgun. That's a gain of 6 and enough for the 1st down. Jennings with a big pickup on his first carry of the day. Now Patrick sets up a screen here for Fleming on 1st and 10. It's a gain of 2 as Fleming couldn't find much room and blocks weren't made. If they want to get success on those screen patterns, blocks have to be put out first and foremost. As it's play action here on 2nd and 8. Patrick to throw, connects with Clarence Ware, but he can't hang on. It's a drop, and that'll bring up 3rd and 8. A big play needed here on 3rd and 8. Patrick throws across the middle, connects with Herb Fellows. That's a 10-yard gain for this Sanford offense. Enough for a new set of downs and the first catch for Herb Fellows this year. 1st and 10 once again. They remain in the shotgun as Patrick looks to throw. He's going to go deep. Well, it wasn't really a deep throw. I take that back. It was more just a deep lob to Tremaine Dingle, nearly getting intercepted by Tanner Nichols. He's lucky it wasn't. As 2nd and 10, they go back to the ground game. Claude Fleming, though, stumbles and can't find room. That's going to be a loss of 2 as it's 3rd and long. Patrick to throw. Connects with the wrong color jersey a 2nd time already. That's Watkins with the interception. The number 2 corner was covering Herb Fellows, and it was double coverage to boot. It was not a good throw whatsoever. So that gives Illinois the ball back, and now they've got a big opportunity in front of them as Zarian Holcomb, there we go, gets nearly enough for the 1st down. As 2nd and inches, Holcomb comes right back with another big catch, 25 yards, putting Illinois into the red zone, or near the red zone. 1st and 10 here, shotgun formation for the Illini. As Crouch looks to throw again. No, he's going to take off, and he's got room up the middle. Loses the football, though. It's free, and Richard Cruz falls on it. It's Sanford Coyote football. There we go. Who brought that one free is the question. I'm seeing the replay here in the booth, and it looks like it was freshman linebacker Dylan Trevor. That's a big play for the young hometown boy, and that is a huge play for this Sanford defense. It's 1st and 10 now following that Illini fumble as the handoff goes to Claude Fleming. A gain of 3 as that play will take us to the end of the 1st quarter, all tied up at 0 apiece. You're listening to Sanford Sports Radio, and the 2nd quarter is up after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Sanford Sports Radio. It's 0-0 currently as the 2nd quarter begins. Antoine Bradford with a carry there, a gain of nothing as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 8 now. Tanner Patrick takes the snap out of shotgun. He tried to connect with, I believe, Rob Thomas. That's Chris James Jr. again with another big interception, and that puts him down at the 3-yard line. That is probably the worst pick that Tanner Patrick could have thrown in his entire career. Chris James Jr. had that route covered entirely. It was a quick throw that just was a bad decision. 3 interceptions in the first half already. As Keyshawn Martin gains just about a yard there on that carry, getting the Illini down to the 2-yard line. They continue this no-huddle offense, though. Handoff goes to the fullback, Ross, and did he break the plane? No, they're going to call him down at the 1. It's now 3rd and goal for the Illini. However, it looks like we may get a false start penalty, and indeed we will. That will move them back 5. Personally, this might be a plus for Illinois, I'm thinking. 3rd and goal. They're going to pass. They got a screen set up, and no one was expecting it. Keyshawn Vaughn, 5-yard touchdown reception on the screen. Touchdown Illinois as they strike first. And really, it's just they sent the blitz. Sanford sent a full-on blitz. Well, it was more a zone cover blitz, but Illinois had plenty of room for that screen, and it's a quick touchdown for Illinois here to start this second quarter of play as Sanford takes back over with a 5-yard gain for Claude Fleming. They kept it on the ground fairly well. Hopefully they can continue this success. 2nd and 5 here. Handoff goes to Fleming. He tries to juke out, I believe that's James Jr., but he couldn't juke him out. Gains 5, though, on that carry. It's going to be 3rd and 1 upcoming. They go back to the option, and Patrick has room. A nice spin move there. He's brought down after a gain of 17. Hell of a play there on the option. As wide open green space in front of Tanner Patrick, he spins, finding a little more room. But a big 17-yard gain as they are close to midfield. As the 1st and 10 handoff goes for a loss of 2 this time for Claude Fleming. They have stayed on the ground a lot as 2nd and 12. A flea flicker involved, but it goes nowhere as Trey Watson comes in quick to put an end to the trickery from Sanford. And sadly, oh no, Tanner Patrick is down and he looks hurt. Dante Anderson has come out on the field here on 3rd and 20. I'm hearing that it doesn't sound serious for Patrick, but that's serious as Dante Anderson throws an interception to Nicholas. You have got to be kidding me. That's 4 picks. Divided between 2 quarterbacks, of course. 3 for Patrick, now 1 for Anderson on his first throw. And if this injury to Patrick is serious, this does not look good for the Coyotes going forward. 1st and 10 here for the Illini as they take back over on offense. Crouch looks to throw. He connects with Keyshawn Vaughn. Another nice gain for Vaughn, gain of 10. He went out of bounds just before the marker. 2nd and inches here, shotgun formation. Crouch hands back off to Keyshawn Vaughn. It's a 3-yard gain. Still have enough for the first, and this defense has to be somewhat exhausted. They have been having to do a lot today as Crouch sets up another screen. This one, though, well covered. That is Elliott Flowers along with, I believe that was Jin that got there with them. It was either Jin or, no, I'm sorry, that was Joe Irvin that got there with them. 2 big defensive tackles getting that screen. And 2nd and 11, it's a run here for Chase Crouch. That's a gain of 6 as it brings up 3rd and 5 here. This defense has to make a big stop. Man in motion here on 3rd and 5. Crouch looks to throw, though, across the middle. Mays with the reception, and they're calling a touchdown. I don't think he crossed that plane. Or at least I don't believe the ball crossed the plane. And it looks like we're going to get an official booth review. I'm seeing the replay here, and it does not look like Mays got anywhere close to that plane with the football. It was in his right hand, and it looks like he may be down at around the 1, maybe even the 2-yard line. He could be even short of a first down here. This is big. We'll see what they call this one. It certainly was no touchdown. The official ruling coming in here. And it has been overturned. It will be 1st and goal from the 1. Crouch in the single back. They hand off to Mays, though, and it is a 1-yard touchdown run. Sam Mays gets his touchdown nonetheless. Instead of receiving, it is rushing, as he will gain a 1-yard rushing touchdown on the end around. 1st and 10 here for Sanford now as they take back over on offense. Claude Fleming and this offense really need to get things going. 5-yard gain on the screen, as I'm guessing that's a little momentum boost as Tanner Patrick has entered the game once again. 2nd and 5. Patrick connects with Deron Costello. I was wondering when we'd hear the big tight end's name called. It's a 9-yard gain and enough for the first down. As under 2 minutes remain here in the half. 1st and 10. Patrick on play action. And I see a wide open man, and so does Patrick. That's Duran Costello, and the big man won't go down. 33-yard reception. That is huge. Patrick connecting with probably his favorite target. As that is a huge connection, and what was most impressive was Duran Costello not going down on 1st, 2nd, or even 3rd contact. Unbelievable. 1st and 10 here from about the 34-yard line. Handoff goes to Fleming, and he's got more room to run. That's a nice 9-yard gain. This offense finally has a drive going for him. This is their opportunity, and they have to capitalize. 2nd and 1 here is under a minute left to play in the half. Over the middle, and it's... You gotta be kidding me. Hilton with an interception. That is the 4th on the half for Tanner Patrick. 5 overall. Julian Hilton with the interception, as the intended target was Herb Fellows, and that went directly to Hilton. There was no chance Fellows had a shot at that football. A poor decision by Tanner Patrick. And you can't be making those mistakes, as it looks like Tremaine Dingle, the number 2 receiver, is now limping off the field. 1st and 10 for Chase Crouch as he connects with Cameron Wilson. The 2nd time we called his name today. An 8-yard gain. There's a timeout taken by the Illini. I'm getting word that Tremaine Dingle's injury is an ACL sprain. It will not hinder him for more than today. I'd be shocked, though, if we see him come back into the ball game. As 1st and 10 following the 1st down slant pattern there from the Illini. Crouch to throw again on 1st. That is Cameron Wilson with another big connection. 17-yard reception, as the Illini are looking like they're going to put more points on the board before half. 1st and 10, the clock continues to tick. Crouch looks to throw. He's going to run, and he is brought down. Joe Irvin collects his 3rd sack of the day. That ties right now a school record for sacks in a game, but that will take us to half as Illinois up 14-0. Sanford needs to make some big plays in the second half to come back. You're listening to Sanford Sports Radio. Welcome back to the Sanford Sports Radio, folks, as it is the 3rd quarter of play here, the second half underway. Illinois with the ball in their hands, up 14-0. And Keyshawn Vaughn with a 7-yard gain to begin things. 2nd and 3 here now as pistol formation for the Fighting Illini as play action, and wide open was Wilson. My God, that is huge. A devastating 1st down there, as Wilson couldn't have been any more open. 1st and 10 now is Crouch to throw again. And once again an open receiver, but he loses the football, can't hold on. Pat Riley, the man who hit it free. 2nd and 10. And it looks like Crouch is going to throw again. Pressure was incoming, but there's Wilson. Cameron Wilson is having a hell of a ball game, and that's the last person that this Sanford crowd wanted to see do well today. 1st and 10 once again as Wilson, the intended target on the screen. He collects the ball. That's a 4-yard gain. Really, that should have gone nowhere. But he was able to break 1 tackle and able to gain just 4. 2nd and 6. It was Wilson again, and he's able to collect it near the sideline. 16-yard reception. He's hit the 100-yard mark already. This is unbelievable. The defense cannot stop Cameron Wilson as Crouch takes on the option. Into the end zone he goes. 8-yard touchdown run. It's a 3-possession ball game, folks. Things not looking good for Sanford. Their defense is falling apart right now. Their offense hasn't shown much. Something has to change here. As the kick here goes off to Sam Moore to return. Can he be the spark plug for this team as he finds room? 35 past the 40 up to the 42. Good starting field position. That is a good spark. A nice return may get this offense going. 1st and 10 in the single back. Patrick looks to throw though early. He connects with Harrison Frazier, who's in the ball game in the slot. because, of course, of the injury to Jermaine Dingle. 19-yard gain and a big first down. As a pitch goes out to Fleming. Fleming, though, doesn't have the speed to get around the edge quick enough. He's going to lose a yard on that one. This offense hasn't been able to find their groove as of late. They need to find something to get them going. A 2nd and 11 and an overthrow to Herb Fellows. And personally, I think if he lays it out a little more, Fellows can get that. 3rd and 11 now as Patrick throws over the middle and it's batted away. Greg Lawrence, the man who was around Duron Costello, the intended target. Illinois offense back out there after the Sanford punt. And Crouch looking to throw again. He connects with Keyshawn Vaughn. And that's going to be a gain of 7. 2nd and 3 upcoming. The no-huddle offense continues, and this is going to continue to tire out this defensive line. And that's the biggest situation here as Crouch takes the option. And that's going to be a 6-yard run, enough for the first. The issue is this D-line is going to get exhausted. They're not going to be able to get the pressure they normally can. I've already seen Irvin get 3 sacks. He's going to have to get more from the looks of things. As Vaughn, though, can't gain anything there. He'll lose 2 yards as Ronnie Hansen comes down on 1st and 10 to make the play. 2nd and 12 now. Man in motion. Shotgun formation here for the Illini as Brown now in the ball game at running back, and he'll take the carry. That's a gain of 3 or 4 yards as Irvin was the man who brought him down. A much needed 3rd and pretty long here as Crouch to throw. He throws deep. Intercepted, Richard Cruz. There's the life in this defense. Cruz with his first pick of the year takes it nearly to midfield. That is what this team was looking for. That's the spark this team needed as Cruz picks off Crouch, and a much needed play. It was severely underthrown, and Cruz was just able to turn and make a big play on it. As 1st and 10 now here for Sanford once again out of the shotgun. It's a 4-yard reception for Harrison Frazier on a crossing pattern. Nice throw, good connection. Take what this defense gives you. 2nd and 6, play action here. Patrick rolling out. He's going to take off. He slides for safety. Doesn't want to take any unnecessary hits. A nice first down for this offense. There's finally some more momentum. 1st and 10. Hey, look at that. Rob Thomas back in the passing attack. That's a 16-yard reception on a nice slant pattern. 1st down Sanford as this drive continues to go in the Coyotes' direction. 1st and 10, shotgun formation. The handoff goes to Tyrone Jennings. He's got room up past the marker. Big first down to the 5-yard line. Tyrone Jennings, 15 yards. As it is 1st and goal over the middle. That is Duron Costello. Touchdown Sanford. It's a 2-possession game, folks. Sanford has entered the scoreboard. This is huge. It's a 14-point ball game as Illinois takes back over. Keyshawn Vaughn on the handoff. The draw goes up for a gain of 12. Enough for a new set of downs. 1st and 10 once again, and Keyshawn Vaughn takes it for 4 yards. So this no huddle still takes advantage of this defense. 2nd and 6 as the no huddle continues. Crouch looking to throw. Pressure incoming. That was Joe Irvin that nearly picked up his 4th sack of the day. Crouch just got rid of it. 3rd and 6. Big 3rd down for this defense is Crouch to throw. Over the middle, connects with Cameron Wilson. He takes a hell of a shot from Jason Turner, but it is a big 1st down nonetheless. 14-yard completion. 1st and 10, play action, and it's Cameron Wilson again. The Coyote kryptonite is the man that decided not to come here. As another huge 1st down for Wilson. They go back to the ground game here on 1st and 10. Dre Brown, 5-yard run. As the no huddle continues, it's 2nd and 5. Crouch takes takes the snap out of shotgun. Batted away. Pat Riley, the younger brother of defensive coordinator Mark Riley, getting his first start of the year. The redshirt freshman getting the opportunity this year, makes a great deflection there as an incompletion there. Chase Crouch is tight end. Holcomb couldn't make the catch. 4th and 5 now. Field goal unit's out and the kick is up and good. It's a 3-possession ball game once again. 24-7 is your score. Sanford's offense, though, needs to do what they did last drive. 1st and 10 for Sanford as Patrick looks to throw. He connects with Duran Costello, and it's a nice 9-yard gain. Once again, take what the defense gives you. Don't force it, Patrick. You can't be making big mistakes. Patrick over the middle connects with Rob Thomas. Another big first down play for Thomas as he was wide open over the middle. Good connection here from the sophomore to sophomore. That is a huge play, as I believe, if I'm not wrong, Tremaine Dingle may have gotten back in this ball game. No, it doesn't look like it. As another throw here, this one to Fellows, and that one should have been caught. Fellows just let that one go through his hands. Fellows can't be dropping the football like he did last year in big situations like that. As 2nd and 10, it's a deep ball intended for Fellows, but good coverage by Illinois. It was a jump ball, and Fellows couldn't come down with it. 3rd and 10 here. 5 wide set is Patrick to throw. Connects with Costello. That's a first down, 14 yards. If he keeps going to that big tight end, I think good things are going to keep coming. 1st and 10. This may just be the last play of the 3rd quarter, as Patrick can't get rid of it in time. He's going to go down for a loss of 12. Amari Hayes, the man on the sack. It's just a simple cornerback blitz. And, well, too much time with the football in your hands is going to force a sack easily. As we head to the end of the 3rd quarter, 24-7 Illinois on top of the Coyotes. They are driving, though. They have an opportunity. We'll be back with the final quarter of play in just a bit. You're listening to the Sanford Sports Radio. Welcome back to the Sanford Sports Radio. The final quarter is underway here in Sanford as a big catch there by Harrison Frazier. 21-yard completion, making it 3rd, and it looks like they're going to spot it at inches short of the marker. Big play there. It's 24-7 Illinois on top of the Coyotes. 3rd and inches. Patrick takes the snap out of shotgun, connects with Fleming on the screen, but he'll lose 4. Great coverage from Illinois. You got to give that defense credit where it counts, as that was just great coverage on the screen. They knew it was coming, and it looks like the offense is out there on 4th down. This is a must-make. Wide open, Herb Fellows. That is a huge first down, 24 yards. Finally, Herb Fellows is open. He gets the connection they've been looking for all day long. It's 1st and goal. Patrick to throw, connects with Fellows. 7-yard touchdown reception for the man wearing number 1 on his chest. That is now a 2-possession ball game once again. It's a 10-point game. It's not out of reach. They have an opportunity. They just have to make plays on defense. 1st and 10 here for Illinois as the handoff goes to Keyshawn Vaughn, though he is bottled up, as I believe that looked like, yes, Dylan Trevor, who pushed the lineman up into Keyshawn Vaughn to force that tackle. 2nd and 13 as a curl goes to Desmond Kane, and that's going to be enough for the first down gain of 16. Not close enough coverage on that one as the no-huddle continues here for Illinois. Crouch to throw. There was a lot of pressure there. He went for Kane again, but great coverage by Richard Cruz. He was right on top of him. 2nd and 10. Under center is Crouch. Man in motion is the tight end. Crouch dropping back. Looking to throw. Pressure was incoming, and he throws it near, I believe, the tight end. But that one falls incomplete. 3rd and 10. Shotgun formation. Crouch takes the snap. And wide open is Cameron Wilson. I don't know how he got that open, but you can't let that happen. He's been killing you all game. You got to cover him. As Keyshawn Vaughn up the gut here on 1st and 10. It's an 8-yard gain. But this whole game's been about Cameron Wilson from the start. And he has shown he is just as good as this Sanford recruiting team thought he was as Mays with another big catch, 22 yards here. 1st and goal for Illinois. If they get a touchdown, it might all be over. And Vaughn fights into the end zone. 7-yard touchdown run. That may be too much for Sanford to come back from. It's once again a 3-score deficit. And I don't know if the Coyotes can do it now. Just over 5 minutes remain. Patrick to throw. Throwing across the middle. That's Fellows, but it put him in a bad situation. He took a big hit and couldn't hang on. 2nd and 10. Patrick to throw again over the middle. That's Deron Costello. Right over the shoulder of the linebacker, and Costello with 30 yards. He's got over 100 on the day as Patrick looks to throw again. He goes deep. It was intended for Rob Thomas, but nearly intercepted for the 2nd time by Julian Hilton. 2nd and 10. Patrick looks to throw. He wants Fellows, but good coverage by Hayes as he was right on him. It bounced off the back of Hayes' jersey, but I'm not sure if there was maybe some pass interference or what to be called there. He didn't turn his head. As 3rd and 10 ends the way you might have thought. The last play should have, as another interception by Tanner Patrick. It was intended for Herb Fellows, the corner route, but he stuck with him the whole time. It's the 5th pick of the day for Tanner Patrick, and at this point, it's game over, folks. Game over. Crouch takes the run here. That's going to be a gain of 9. As I don't know if there's a way Sanford can stop them. They have to make some big plays on defense, that's for sure, as Crouch takes the handoff again. Well, I'm sorry, he'll take the option. It's another 1st down conversion. Vaughn takes the handoff here on 1st and 10. It's only a gain of 1, but it may be too much too late. As Crouch looks to throw. He's going to run again. He's brought down the 4th sack of the day for Joe Irvin. That is going to set a Sanford school record for sacks in a ball game. There's a new record holder, and it's sophomore Joe Irvin of the sack record in a game. But that's only one positive to take away today. As a 3-yard reception here for Vaughn on the screen. Sanford's got to score quick. They have the ball back, 1st and 10. Anderson is in the ball game, though, and I've got a feeling this is more than just wanting to constantly throw the football. See, he has to throw it away because of pressure there. 2nd and 10, 5 wide set. Anderson looks to throw. And widely overthrown. His intended target, I believe, was Harrison Frazier, but nowhere near him. 3rd and 10, Anderson to throw, but he goes down. A loss of 10 on the sack by Darrell Bryant. This is all just really putting everything into perspective here. It's showing how dominant these other teams can be against this Sanford team right now. It's a little bit of a reality check, I think, as Vaughn with a handoff here on 2nd and 2. Illinois just running out this clock. And with 2 minutes left, Sanford not taking any timeouts. They know it's over. They're not going to try and beat a dead horse when they know they're not having any success, it looks like. As Trey McLaughlin came up to make a nice tackle there on Vaughn at the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 8, handoff goes to Vaughn. He's brought down by Jason Turner short of the marker, and I've got a feeling Illinois will just punt it away since they don't have the time to kneel it. But it's game over nonetheless. As Illinois will take this one, Chase Crouch is being awarded the player of the game here today. It was the Cameron Wilson show. That's what it was. That's simply just what you have to call it. Ronnie Hansen couldn't keep up. I think some would argue Flash Gibson should have been brought in and maybe could have matched Wilson with his speed. But it's all hindsight at this point. When it comes down to it, Tanner Patrick made too many mistakes. 5 interception isn't going to win you a ball game. This team has come back from those type of outings before, but they couldn't this time against Big Ten competition. This team has a long way to go. We'll see how they can grow this season. It's a big season for them. A lot of good players need to make some plays. For nothing, at least the seniors this year need to do something. We'll see what happens next week as, well, Sanford takes on Wyoming here at home. We'll be back home for a second game straight. It'll be a fun one to watch. We'll see you this coming week for another edition of The Howler. I've been Jonathan West. You've been listening to Sanford Sports Radio. We'll see you next week.